Hi, I'm Marianne Grady Flores, and I'm here with Patrick O'Neill. Patrick O'Neill is one of the 7 co-defendants from the Kings Bay Plowshares action, nonviolent symbolic disarmament action of the Trident submarine in southeast Georgia. And Patrick, thank you for being here today. And tell us about your action a little bit, and then go into maybe sharing how it was for you being in the court yesterday for the pretrial hearing motions.
Well, can I show viewers their tax dollars at work right there? Okay, that's my ankle monitor, which I've been wearing for more than a year now. Regarding court yesterday, the best thing about court yesterday was seeing Elizabeth McAllister and Father Steve Kelly and Mark Colville, who I haven't seen in almost a year, 9 months. It's been sad because you can't have any visits with them. You know, the only contact you can have is by telephone or with a postcard. So it was very exciting for the 7 of us to be together for the first time in a very long time. So that was good.
And that prevents you from what? By not seeing them?
Well, we can't adequately prepare our defense. The thing that's important to know about the Kings Bay Plowshares is that 5 of us are representing ourselves, which is known as pro se defendants. Mm-hmm. And so in order for us to do that, we really need to consult with each other and brainstorm together, and the government has not permitted us that. So, and we couldn't do it yesterday. Yesterday we were under a very strict time restriction on part of the judge, and we had no time to meet together yesterday. So it was, just basically give a hug and goodbye and hello, and that's it. So,
do you want to say a word about the action? Keep it brief.
Well, I mean, we went into the base on the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's assassination. It was an important symbolic day and a day to remember the person I always say is the greatest American who ever lived. And we wanted to honor him and honor his teachings about nonviolence and peace. There were actual statues of weapons of mass destruction in there that I found on Google Maps. So when I went to the thing, it was dark, and I had gotten a hammer from Shane Claiborne from the Simple Way community in Philadelphia that was made of melted down guns. Mm. So I went running up to the monument hoping to put a big hole in it or maybe knock it down. And when I hit it with my hammer, I went like that, and I hit it, and my hand went ging, and the hammerhead broke right off because the monument was made of solid cement and broke my hammer. So I didn't really do much damage to the idol.
Right.
So that was what we did, and we did other things. All of us did different things. I'm just saying what I did. Everybody else can tell you what they did.
Yes.
Collectively, we acted as one, and subsequently we were taken into custody and charged with state charges in the state of Georgia. And then 5 weeks later, the federal government stepped in and indicted us, and so that's now superseded the state charges, although the state's charges are sort of not gone, but they're not being pursued right now, and the state will probably dismiss their charges if we get convicted by the feds, but they can bring them back up if they want to.
Wow.
I thought, but the thing that's most fascinating to me is, when we made a decision to come here to Georgia, to southeastern Georgia, to a base that had been there for more than 35 years. It was proposed by Jimmy Carter, who was the governor of this state, and actually is considered somewhat of a peace kind of guy now, which is really not completely true. Compared to Trump he is, I guess. But the point was that I thought, coming here would serve as a wake-up call for the people who were living in the belly of the beast. I mean, Trident is the most insidious, horrific weapon system ever built. Mm-hmm. The Trident system alone, if you would use the kilotonnage of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, it would add up to the kilotonnage would kill 14 billion people, which is almost twice the population of the planet. So we're talking about one dimension of our nuclear triad, just one sea-based dimension. There's other sea-based dimensions. There's air dimensions, all of our bombers, fighter jets, and then we have land-based ICBMs and other mobile nuclear weapons that can move around on trucks. So we're talking about overkill of unimaginable proportions. We possess the capability to destroy life as we know it, to end the human experiment. So I was very surprised. I thought we would really get a lot of local people sort of thinking about this issue, that there'd be some interest in our case. And here we were yesterday in court, and we had actor Martin Sheen, who's he's a big-time prominent celebrity, and no TV station showed up. We've gotten very little press coverage, and some people want to say, well, that's a media blackout. I don't think it is at all. I think it's disinterest. Now, if that was the case, I guess there'd be some dimension of media blackout, but I really think it's a matter of that the nuclear issue is not that important to people. The fact that we've been living on hair trigger alert for complete and total Armageddon, for more than half a century now, has become normal to people. Nuclearism has become a normal course of our lives. It's not an aberration. Right. It's not an abomination. It's just nothing.
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's not in people's consciousness at all. So, Patrick, in your time going forward, tell me what may be expected by the end of this week. Your attorneys are going to be submitting motion.
They will be submitting our final written arguments in favor of having our charges dismissed. So this will be it. Once we submit these, all the written information the judge needs is in her hands, all of the transcripts, and then all of the testimony that she witnessed yesterday. She then has to sit down and write. So that's it. This is the last step before we get a trial date, unless she decides to dismiss the charges.
Okay. Is there any chance, and I'm assuming that a motion has been submitted to have Liz and Steve and Mark released on their own recognizances? Is that correct?
Well, the judge seemed to hint that, if I get a motion, I'll look at it, and so she mentioned it 3 times, which I thought was unusual. I feel like the government has certainly gotten its pound of flesh from us. 3 of us have been in jail for almost a year and a half, and 4 of us have been under house arrest, which is very restrictive and, cuts into our freedom very much so. We can't go anywhere without permission. So, considering that we're not convicted of anything yet, and they want to argue about our prior criminal histories, but I have 1 felony from 35 years ago. So, what are they talking about? I'm not a bank robber, so obviously they're taking very seriously what we did, and we're being punished pretty severely. So I think the judge is saying that maybe she'll cut our leg irons off here, our ankle monitors, and maybe let Liz and Mark out. Steve has a federal detainer for a probation violation, so he won't get out. And it's not his desire to get out.
I see.
I did want to say this, I was giving an interview earlier today to a radio station in Vermont, and I said, there's one of the reasons people aren't paying much attention to nuclearism is because of global warming. Global warming has now emerged as the issue for people. People are very worried. Can global warming end the human experiment, like a nuclear bomb going off can? And it seems to me it can. But the thing I want to say that's really important is we cannot stop global warming until we stop militarism. Militarism is the major primary contributor to global warming. They have the most significant carbon footprint in the world. They use the most petroleum of any entity in the world. And so global warming equals global militarism. They can't be separated. And until we start to say the only way to stop global warming is to stop militarism, stop nuclearism, stop war making, and stop preparation for war making, we have to learn as a nation that if we want to survive as a human species, we've got to find nonviolent alternatives to resolving our conflicts, and we can't have this conspicuous consumption. We've got to live simpler lives, lives that honor the earth, and honor each other, and honor all people and all creation. And we've got to address that, or global warming's never going to stop.
Yes. Patrick, thank you so much. For folks that are interested in hearing or reading more from our website is Kings Bay Plowshares 7.org, and you can read the statements from the 7 codefendants and the oral arguments that were submitted to the court yesterday, and keep follow our website, sign our global petition, which is on the front page, to have the charges dropped. And also, you are welcome to write postcards to the 3 co-defendants that are in jail. And those addresses for the jail and the instructions on how to send those postcards are all listed on our website. Okay, thanks so much.